What's up, everybody? First, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you for the growing support. It really means the world to me, and hopefully I can keep providing more interesting content. And speaking of interesting, if you think Registeel is down for the count in Season 3, then think again, because even though Flash Cannon and Focus Blast have been nerfed, there's another move that doesn't get talked about as much, and that's Hyper Beam. So in these set of battles, I'm going to be trying out Hyper Beam Registeel by replacing Flash Cannon on it, and also replacing Flash Cannon with Brave Bird on Skarmory. Now, Hyper Beam is not the recommended move for Registeel. PvPoke still recommends the Flash Cannon Focus Blast moveset, but I just wanted to spice things up a little bit and try out a new move to see how it performs. And I'm pretty sure a Brave Bird on Skarmory is something that you might have tested out already, and it's just a fantastic move in being able to provide that hard-hitting coverage and provides amazing closing potential for Skarmory when shields are down as well. And to make things a little more interesting, we're going to be trying it out in the triple steel team composition along with Galarian Stunfisk as well. These are actually some battles that I did from rank 2 through to rank 4. And unlike previous seasons, as I'm sure a lot of you might have observed already, the competition this season is a lot tougher and you don't run into those spice teams anymore. Most of the battlers I went up against were really good and they were running meta lines. So I actually went 13-0 in the 3 sets of battles that I did. Actually 14-1 overall, but it was a 13-0 win streak within that. And like I said, some intense, exciting battles. Let's just get straight into it. Okay, moving on to the first battle here. I'm going to be showing some of the best battles from 3 sets of battles that I did. So we're going to be starting it off with a rank 2 battle and then moving into some rank 3 and rank 4 battles as well. So we have a Skarmory mirror match, and on this particular occasion, I'm just going to play this out. But as we progress into this video, you'll notice that I played out a little differently. Ideally, I would want to switch into my Galarian Stunfisk to hopefully draw out their fighter or Mudboy if they have one, because I will basically need my Skarmory to get rid of those two, right? Because the backline of this team really struggles against fighters and Mudboys. But for now, we're just going to play this out. And also, I've only managed to do about 4 sets of battles this season. That's because it's been a pretty busy week and I haven't had too much time to play Pokemon Go. But hopefully I can catch up over the weekend. But getting back into this battle here, I'm going to switch into my Galarian Stunfisk, and they are still staying in this matchup, which tells me they don't have an answer to Galarian Stunfisk in the back, which is great news for my Registeel as well. And yeah, they're still staying in and they're going to throw a charge move right here. I'm not worried about it because everything is going to be resisted because of the steel typing. And Rock Slide obviously would do neutral damage to Skarmory because of the flying steel typing. And I'm just going to go straight for the Rock Slide here. This isn't going to finish off Skarmory. It's going to put it pretty low. And they're probably going to get off another charge move right now. And I was actually considering a Mud Shot farming this Skarmory down. But I don't think it's possible because, they still have quite a bit of health left. So I'm just going to go straight for the Rock Slide here. This should either get the final shield or get rid of their Skarmory. So let's see what they have in the back. Really curious to see what they have in the back. And they have a Clefable. Clefable is definitely not an answer to Galarian Stunfisk. So I'm just immediately going to switch into my Skarmory and throw the Sky Attack, hoping to get their final shield. They don't give up the shield. I probably could have gone straight for the Brave Bird, to be honest. But I thought I could get to 2 Sky Attacks. Unfortunately, we go down, but it's okay. I can just come in with Registeel and soak whatever this Clefable throws because everything is going to be resisted. Now, this is one of those matchups where Flash Cannon would help, but at this point, the health on this Clefable is way too low that anything would basically get rid of it. And I'm just going to go straight for the Hyper Beam here. Could have gone for the Focus Blast, but this is my first time using Hyper Beam and I just wanted to get a feel for it. And it gets shielded, which is absolutely fine. And I'm just going to go straight for the Focus Blast at this point. Even though this is resisted, it should definitely take out the Clefable. Obviously, you can get to Focus Blasts quicker than you can get to Hyper Beam. And they have an Altaria in the back. So let's just see how much Hyper Beam does to Altaria, right? This is really fun. It just does so much damage. So I'm just going to go straight for the Hyper Beam here. They have no more shields. And again, it's going to do massive neutral damage. Look at that. That's just so juicy. It does about 50% of Altaria's health, which is massive. So we have 2 shields. I can just shield this up and just go straight for the Rock Slide here. And this is going to do super effective damage because of the flying typing. And finish off the Altaria there. So after a little bit of lag, yeah, finishes off Altaria, and as you can see, Hyper Beam doing a lot of damage. And the rest of the battles were pretty straightforward, and we went 5-0 to go up to rank 3. So let's move into some more intense rank 3 battles. You must be wondering how to deal with Whiscash and Alolan Marowak in the back. So we'll take a look at that right now. And we have Skarmory into Lucario. So this is good that we caught this thing on the lead because the backline again would really struggle against Lucario. We're both doing neutral damage to each other. And I'm not going to shield this because it's only going to be a power-up punch, which is going to do neutral damage, but isn't going to do that much. And yeah, I'm going to go straight for the Sky Attack here. This should definitely get the shield from Lucario because Lucario is extremely glassy and yeah, gets the shield as expected there, and those counters are really adding up because it's boosted from the Power Up Punch. And I'm just going to shield this up because I want to get off the Sky Attack onto this Lucario because, like I said, the backline doesn't really want to see the Lucario here. And I'm just going to go straight for the Sky Attack here. This should definitely take out the Lucario if it goes unshielded, as it does there, which is fantastic. Let's see what they have in the back. They have a Whiscash in the back. This is where it gets tricky, right? Like I mentioned, this backline really struggles against Whiscash here. So I'm just going to bring in my Registeel, and the advantage though is that because of the bulk on Registeel and Galarian Stunfisk and also their versatility, they're going to be able to last long enough even in bad matchups to deal significant amount of damage, right? And I'm just going to go straight for the Focus Blast here. I'm really hoping this gets the shield from this Whiscash, and it does, which is perfect. And at this point, I'm just going to go straight for the Hyper Beam here. And they're going to throw a Charge Move. I'm going to shield this up. And I'm really hoping that we can get to a Hyper Beam before another Charge Move comes through. So, yeah. But unfortunately, they're able to get to another Charge Move. I'm really hoping we can survive this because I want to land the Hyper Beam. Mud Bomb almost takes us out, but Registeel is an absolute tank. I'm going to be able to get to this Hyper Beam. And let's see how much Hyper Beam does to a Whiscash, right? Does heavy neutral. Look at that. I mean, that does about 60% of Whiscash's health, which is absolutely huge. And they make a switch into their Houndoom. So I'm just going to go straight for the Rock Slide here. Again, Rock Slide is going to one-shot the Houndoom, which is pretty glassy. And also it's doing super effective damage because of the fire typing. And at this point, it's just a race to the Charge Move. They're able to get to a Mud Bomb first. And I'm really hoping I can survive this. But Galarian Stunfisk is extremely tanky as well. And I'm going to be able to get to this Rock Slide. And even though this is resisted, it should definitely take out the Whiscash. So that's just how you deal with Whiscash in the back. In fact, this was actually one of the hardest team comps to go up against. They had a fighter, a Mud Boy, and a fire type. Arguably 3 of the worst Pokemon if you're running a triple steel team. But like I said, because of the bulk on Galarian Stunfisk and Registeel, you can still pull it off. So now we are met with an Azumarill here. This is a pretty neutral matchup. And I'm just going to soak the Charge Move and then throw the Brave Bird and then safe switch into my Registeel. That's what I'm going to try and do here. I'm just going to go straight for the Brave Bird. This is going to do some heavy neutral damage to Azumarill if it goes unshielded. Let's see what they decide to do here. They do shield that up, so I'm just going to immediately switch into my Registeel because at this point the defense is severely lowered on my Azumarill. So I'm just going to, Alolan Marowak is going to come in. This is absolutely terrible, right? Because Alolan Marowak is going to double resist both Hyper Beam and Focus Blast as well. And if this was if I was running Flash Cannon, that would be slightly better because that would at least be single resisted, whereas both these charge moves would be double resisted. Luckily, we get a shield. That is absolutely huge. And I'm not going to shield this up. It's absolutely fine. I'll let it go through because at this point, the only thing that I have is a shield advantage. And I'm just going to go straight for the Focus Blast here and try and put this Alolan Marowak into Rock Slide range. And we do go down here. So I'm just going to come in with Stunfisk because we're both doing super effective damage against each other. And Charge Move coming through. I'm really hoping this is just a Bone Club and I'm not going to shield, but ends up being a Shadow Ball. That does massive neutral damage. And they make a switch into their Jump Luff to catch the Charge Move. This is fine because even Jump Luff takes super effective damage from the Rock Slide because of the flying typing. But I'm just going to come in with Skarmory and completely farm this Jump Luff down. I might have to shield once, because I don't want my Skarmory to be in a Fire Spin farm down range for the Alolan Marowak. So I'm just going to, at this point, I'm just going to completely farm this thing down. I'm not going to shield this because it's everything Jumpluff has is going to be resisted. And we're going to come out of this matchup with a lot of loaded energy. And they don't have any more shields. And we almost have 2 Brave Birds at this point. And they're going to come in with a Azumarill here. I'm going to go straight for the Brave Bird here. Now, Brave Bird is going to do massive amount of neutral damage to Azumarill. And look at that. That is just so juicy. It does about 50% of Azumarill's health. I'm going to shield this up because we almost have a Sky Attack, and which I can throw to get rid of this Azumarill here. And Sky Attack is definitely going to finish off Azumarill. And as soon as it's done, I'm going to immediately switch into my Galarian Stunfisk to make sure they don't farm us. And now it's just a race to the Charge Move. And I'm able to get to this Rock Slide just in time here. And this is going to do super effective damage against the Alolan Marowak and pretty much take it out there. So as you can see, that's how you deal with Alolan Marowak. So 2 back-to-back hard counters in the back, Whiscash in the first game, then Alolan Marowak next, but we were able to pull it off. Again, the rest of the battles were pretty straightforward, and we went 5-0 again and move into rank 4. So it's a 10-0 streak with this team so far. Let's see how far we can keep it going. Moving into some intense rank 4 battles. These were like really good battles here, and we have Skarmory into Altaria. Pretty positive matchup. In fact, Altaria has no play against this team. All three of these Pokemon, completely wall it in some way or another. And they make a switch into their Vigoroth. I'm going to stay in this matchup. It's good that they made a switch into Vigoroth because, like I said, the backline would struggle against counter users. And both of Vigoroth's charge moves are going to be resisted by Skarmory because of the Steel Flying typing. And yeah, those counters are definitely adding up. So I'm not going to shield this. Probably just going to be a Body Slam, which is going to be resisted because of the Steel typing. And another charge move coming through. I'm going to shield this up because, we are getting pretty low at this point. And I'm just going to go straight for the Brave Bird here, right? This is where Brave Bird on Skarmory is really useful. And it just provides that hard hitting coverage, right? And if it goes unshielded, look at that, just destroys the Vigoroth there. And they have a Jirachi. This is pretty much GG's at this point. They have a Jirachi and an Altaria, both of which would get completely walled by both Stunfisk and Registeel. And they make a switch into their Altaria to try and catch the Focus Blast, and they do shield that up. Luckily, we go for the Hyper Beam instead because I was anticipating the switch. And I don't have to shield anything at this point. I'm just going to go. They don't have any more shields, so I'm just going to go straight for the Hyper Beam here. And Hyper Beam is going to do massive amount of neutral damage to Altaria. Again, not going to shield this up. It doesn't really matter. Sky Attack. They're going to basically need another Sky Attack to get rid of Registeel. So I'm just going to go straight for the Hyper Beam. This is going to do massive neutral damage to Altaria. Look at that damage. That is it's just so satisfying to land it. Hashtag get beamed. So I make a switch into my Stunfisk because I realized they were farming my Registeel down. So again, doesn't really matter at this point. Sky Attack is going to be resisted. They're going to come in with Jirachi. Everything Jirachi has is also going to be resisted. This is probably just going to be a Doom Desire, which is why I'm going to let it go through. And I'm just going to go straight for the Earthquake here. So Earthquake is definitely going to one-shot the Jirachi because of the Steel typing and pretty much take it out here. And it's pretty much GG's at this point because Altaria has no more shields, and I'm going to be able to get this Rock Slide off, and this should pretty much finish off the Altaria there. So we basically won with a shield and all three Pokemon left, and that's just how dominating this team can be, especially if your team doesn't have a Steel counter, right? And honestly, it's actually I wanted to try it out just to spice things up, but it ended up working really well for me. It's actually a team that I would think about considering in the longer run, hopefully with a Flash Cannon Registeel, obviously, but Hyper Beam works as well. Anyways, moving into the next battle here, we met with the Drifblim. Now, Drifblim is a very interesting Pokemon in Season 2, especially with the buff to Hex. It's made it even more viable as far as PvP is concerned. And they win the CMP tie there. I'm really hoping this is just an Icy Wind, but ends up being a Shadow Ball. So that does massive damage to Skarmory. And I'm going to go straight for the Sky Attack here. This is also going to do heavy neutral damage to Drifblim if it goes unshielded. They do let that go through. So at this point, I'm just going to commit to the complete air/farm down here. I might have to shield once. Yes, I'm going to shield this up and then completely farm this Drifblim down so that I have a Brave Bird to throw at whatever's going to come out next. We farm it down. Let's see what they have in the back. They're going to come in with Azumarill. I'm going to go straight for the Brave Bird here. Most people don't like to shield their Azumarill, especially moves from Skarmory. And look at the damage that Brave Bird does. Does about 50% of Azumarill's health, which is absolutely massive. And I'm obviously going to come in with Registeel here. This Azumarill is just in Hyper Beam range at this point, and I'm not going to shield this. I'm just going to risk it. Luckily, it ends up being a Play Rough, which tells me they don't have a Hydro Pump, and they make a switch into their Altaria, and I'm going to switch into my Stunfisk. I probably could have thrown the Hyper Beam on Altaria, but I want to save the Hyper Beam to throw at Azumarill later. And Stunfisk, even with the shield disadvantage, can definitely beat Altaria. So, and yeah, Stunfisk can just spam those Rock Slides for fun, right? I mean, it's just an absolute joke how quickly it can get to it. And obviously, I'm able to get to the next Rock Slide before they're even able to get to another charge move here. This should definitely get the final shield from Altaria there, as it does. And for some reason, they are over farming. They're not throwing for some reason, but that's great. I'm going to throw this Rock Slide immediately here. This should put the Altaria pretty low because it's doing super effective damage because of the flying typing. And they make a switch into their Azumarill. And I'm really trying to switch, but we have a lot of lag here. But I'm able to switch into the Registeel to catch the charge move. So I was able to do it just in time. Ice Beam is going to be resisted because of the Steel typing, and I'm going to go straight for the Hyper Beam here. Let's see how much Hyper Beam does to an Azumarill, right? Does massive neutral damage. Look at that. That does about 40% of Azumarill's health, which is not bad at all. And they're going to come in with Altaria here. It's pretty much GG's at this point because they're going to need 3 Sky Attacks in total. I mean, 2 Sky Attacks after this, and they're going to get off another one right here. And I don't think they have enough energy to get off another one before we can get to a charge move. So I'm just going to go straight for the Hyper Beam here, and this Hyper Beam is absolutely going to destroy this Altaria. And we still have a little bit of health on my Galarian Stunfisk in the back, so yeah, it was pretty straightforward there. Look, I mean, Hyper Beam, like I said, just gives great closing potential. And in this battle, you saw how much damage it did to both Azumarill and Altaria, both of which are very common in the meta. And yeah, seems as if it's an option that's worth considering. So moving into the next battle here. This was actually one of the most intense battles of Season 3. I think, yeah, this was absolutely intense. So we met with the Galarian Stunfisk. This is a pretty tricky situation, right? Because all three of my Pokemon lose to Galarian Stunfisk with an energy disadvantage. So I'm just going to stay in this matchup and soak the charge move here. And I'm just going to go for the Brave Bird and then switch. I want to see how much Brave Bird does to a Galarian Stunfisk. So they're able to get to a charge move first. Absolutely fine. I'm going to let this go through. It is going to put my Skarmory into the yellow, which is absolutely fine. And I'm just going to go straight for the Brave Bird here. Let's see how, even though this is resisted, let's see how much damage this does. And honestly, it doesn't really do that much, to be honest. That's because Galarian Stunfisk is an absolute tank. And I'm really trying to get to an Earthquake here, but they're able to get to a charge move first. And I'm going to have to shield this up because this is probably going to be an Earthquake. And I'm expecting them to switch out right now. And they make a switch into their Azumarill. So even though this is not a great matchup for Galarian Stunfisk, Stunfisk with an energy advantage can definitely beat Azumarill, right? Because you're going to be able to spam those moves. And because we landed the Earthquake, I can go straight Rock Slides at this point and try and pressure shields here. So I'm just going to go straight for the Rock Slide here. Doesn't get the shield, which is absolutely fine. I'm probably going to be able to get to another Rock Slide before a charge move even comes through. This is absolutely perfect. This should definitely get the shield from the Azumarill. As it does there, absolutely perfect. And I'm going to shield this up because I'm not going to risk it. If it's Hydro Pump, it would take us out. Luckily, it's a Hydro Pump. We shield that. It's great. And I'm going to be able to get to another Rock Slide here. Let's see if they decide to shield this up. This should definitely finish off Azumarill if it goes unshielded. As it does there, which is absolutely fantastic. And they're going to come back in with their Galarian Stunfisk. And I'm going to try and switch into Skarmory to catch an Earthquake, but we make a simultaneous switch, right? They make a switch into their Skarmory as well. And I'm going to go straight for the Brave Bird here. This, even though this is resisted, it should still do quite a bit of damage to the opposing Skarmory, as it does there. It does about 30% of Skarmory's health. And at this point, because they're trying to farm us down for energy, I'm able to get to another Sky Attack. This is absolutely huge, right? This ended up making all the difference here. They shield up the Sky Attack, which is fine. Now we're both on even shields, basically no shields at this point. And I'm going to come in with Registeel to soak the charge move here. Now, the one thing that I have to worry about is that their switch timer is coming back up, and I know that their Stunfisk has loaded energy, and they're probably going to try and switch into their Stunfisk and throw the Earthquake to instantly delete my Registeel here. So I'm wary of that, and I'm ready to switch at this point. But yeah, but there was a little bit of lag right there. I was trying to switch. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to. And this Earthquake is going to one-shot my Registeel there. So great play by my opponent. At this point, I'm just going to have to build up to 2 Rock Slides. And I'm going to throw the first one here. This should definitely finish off the Stunfisk, even though it's double resisted. And we have another one ready to go. And I'm really hoping that this KOs the Skarmory, right? It's going to be extremely close here. And let's see if this gets rid of the Skarmory. It's able to take out the Skarmory. And yeah. That was so intense. That was such an intense battle right there. It was great fun playing it out. And then Stunfisk is just so OP. I mean, it's just one of the best additions to Great League in recent times. I mean, it's so spammy and has such fantastic matchups against most Pokemon, right? Anyways, I think, yeah, this is the battle, I think, where we break the streak. We are at a 13-0 streak right now and a 16-0 streak as far as this season is concerned. 13-0 streak with this particular team. So Melmetal lead is not a great matchup. I'm going to let the first one go through, hoping they don't have Thunderbolt. And I'm just going to throw the Brave Bird and then switch into my Registeel here. Now, even though it's resisted, Melmetal in Great League is fairly glassy and it would take quite a bit of damage from this Brave Bird. They do shield that up. So I'm just going to switch into Registeel to catch the Rock Slide here. So that was the perfect timing of the switch because it's going to be resisted because of the Steel typing. And they are still staying in this matchup, which tells me they're going to probably go for 2 superpowers here. But I'm going to be able to get off this Focus Blast. This should definitely get the shield from Melmetal because it pretty much one-shot it, even though it's been debuffed. I mean, nerfed, I should say. But anyways, I'm not going to shield the first one because just in case it's a Rock Slide bait, I don't want to risk it. It's a superpower, which is absolutely fine. I'm going to shield the next one. Yeah, I'm going to shield this up, and then they don't have any more shields, so I'm expecting them to switch out right now. Yeah, they do make a switch into their Altaria to catch the Focus Blast, but luckily I'll throw the Hyper Beam here. Again, this is going to do about 50% of Altaria's health there. And I'm going to switch into my Skarmory and try and get off the Sky Attack here. And yeah, this is where I make the mistake, right? I actually shield this up and I shouldn't have done that. I should have definitely saved that one shield for endgame and that would have made all the difference there. But using up the shield here ended up costing me the game. So I'm going to go straight for the Sky Attack here. This should definitely take out the Altaria. But unfortunately now, the Melmetal is going to be able to come back and farm for quite a bit of energy, right? That's not ideal. And like I said, because we have no more shields, it's not a great situation to be in. I'm going to bring in my Registeel to basically soak the charge move. And this is going to be a Rock Slide, which is very smart play on their part. There was no reason to go for Superpower there. And yeah, it's not looking great because now they're going to be able to get off Superpower, which is going to do super effective damage against Stunfisk. Yeah, it does a lot of damage actually. That's not great. And they have an Umbreon in the back. So it's pretty much GG's at this point. I was really hoping they had something in the back which was weak to Stunfisk, but Umbreon is just way too tanky, right? I mean, look at that. Even Earthquake does about 40% of Umbreon's health. Doesn't even do about 40% to be honest. But yeah, foul play. But we're just still going to play it out and see how far we can get. Going to throw the next Earthquake here. This should put the Umbreon pretty low. But unfortunately, isn't going to take it out, right? And that's going to make all the difference here. So they still survive with a little bit of health. And they're going to throw a foul play right here. And they should definitely finish off my Galarian Stunfisk. And yeah, that's the end of the streak. So I was pretty disappointed. I was really hoping to keep the streak going. That was a 13-0 streak with this team and 16-0. And as you can see, that was 16 wins in a row, which is my new record. Until this point, I had only 15 wins in a row in my previous seasons. But I'm pretty sure a lot of you have 20 plus wins. And hoping that I can sort of achieve that later on in the season. But I think these early ranks are your best chance to achieve that, right? But anyways, we are 3-1 in this set right now and moving into the final battle of this video. Let's hope we can finish on a positive note. So we have Skarmory mirror match here. Again, I'm going to throw the Brave Bird and then switch into my Registeel. That's my plan here. Charge move coming through from the Skarmory. I'm just going to let this go through. Just going to be a Sky Attack, doesn't really do that much. And I'm just going to go straight for the Brave Bird here. Like I said, even though this is resisted, it will still do about 30% of Skarmory's health, like it does there. And I'm just going to switch into my Registeel and let's see what they decide to do. They can switch into their Shiftry, and Shiftry is definitely not an answer to Registeel. And Registeel with an energy advantage can definitely beat Shiftry. And at this point, because they made a switch into their Shiftry, I was thinking this is probably the Caleb Peng double grass line, which means that they probably have a Meganium in the back, which is not great for my Galarian Stunfisk. But we're just going to play this out here. Not going to shield the first one, which is absolutely fine. I'm going to shield this up because I don't want to get to a situation where I'm going to have to shield up Leaf Blades later on. So I'm just going to go straight for the Focus Blast here. This should definitely get the final shield from the Shiftry. And even though Focus Blast has been debuffed, it really hasn't been debuffed that much, right? It still does almost as much damage as it used to, and it's definitely going to one-shot something like Shiftry. So I'm going to let this go through because we can definitely survive it. Luckily, it's only a Leaf Blade. And I'm expecting a switch out, but they don't switch out. So I'm just going to go straight for the Focus Blast, which is going to one-shot the Shiftry because they don't have any more shields. Let's see what they have in the back. They have an Umbreon in the back. This is absolutely perfect. So I'm just going to shield up whatever they throw right now because I want to land this Focus Blast onto this Umbreon. Dark Pulse coming through, and they make a switch into their Skarmory, and I'm going to switch into Galarian Stunfisk. That was very smart play on their part. They immediately switched into Skarmory and tried to delete my Registeel and waste all that loaded energy. And if they had done that, it would have probably cost me the game because I need that Focus Blast to get rid of Umbreon, right? And at this point, it's pretty straightforward. We have a decent amount of health on my Skarmory as well, and also Registeel has loaded energy, and that Umbreon is probably just in Focus Blast range right now. And yeah, they realized that there was no way for them to come back there, and yeah, it's going to be a GG's, and I think it's a 4-1 set, so that's 14-1 in the 3 sets of battles that we did. So like you can see, Hyper Beam Registeel definitely has very good play, especially against Pokemon that would resist both Flash Cannon and Focus Blast. It would come really in handy, and also catch a lot of people off guard as well. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.